This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 70. Go direct consumer. Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you're new to the business, or build a better real estate agent business if you've been around for a while, I've created a free jumpstart course for you over at freeagentgift.com. It will help you think more like a manager of the business, which is what most of us really need. So I want to get started here about go direct to consumer. What do you mean? Well, the first point here is that the internet keeps moving us as real estate agents away from the consumer. It's pushing us further away from that human contact. You see, historically speaking, I've been around this business long enough to remember as a consumer myself, as an investor, I couldn't wait to run down to my local agency where I did business, pick up the book, look at what was available, run out with copies of the ones that I wanted, and drive by and see which ones I wanted to book showings. So I actually had to go face to face with the agency as a consumer because they had the proprietary information. They were in control of it. They had the access. So I, as consumer, was forced to go to them. Well, then this little old company called realtor.com cut this sweetheart deal with the real estate, the National Association of Realtors to be specific, and off went Pandora's box door wide open. And now all of a sudden the access to this, what was once proprietary information, is public. So now the public is looking at this information through myriad different ways. I mean, whether it's a tech company who's jumped into real estate, whether it's an old guard real estate company, whether it's mom and pop, doesn't matter. Consumer has public access to private information. Okay, that's what's changed. So that pushed the consumer away immediately. Now, the problem is more so on our side of the business. What do you do about change? See, everybody panics about change instead of just thinking logically, okay, so they have access. You know, remember back in the day when it first happened, oh, that's the end of the real estate agent. Well, here we are quite some time later, and that didn't happen. This is still a single large financial transaction that most people will ever make in a lifetime. And you know what that does to their emotion? Off to the moon when it comes to emotional overload, right? So we have to think that that's still the valuable proposition here. And you're not going to really be able to help somebody calm down, sift and sort through the information, appeal to their logic without getting face to face, ultimately, right? So as the internet pushes the information out, it's pushing the consumer away. So you have to just simply, first of all, recognize that. And that still, I know what you all want. You want to get face to face. So that's the next point here. So work backwards from that ultimate goal. See, everybody's pushing and pushing. How do I get in front of all these people? So where do I get the leads? See what you did? You just went right back to pushing them away. The minute you start talking about leads, and especially internet-based leads, you've positioned yourself furthest away. So, well, what do you mean? Well, how do I get face-to-face? Well, think logically speaking, you're trying to get into somebody's house to give them a seller presentation. You're trying to get on the road so you can show buyers properties. So you're working backwards thinking, well, what's the fastest path to get face-to-face with those people? Because ultimately, I know some of you are going to tell me, well, I sold something without ever going there. Okay, that's the one-off blue moon event. For the most part, the majority of the deals that get consummated are when a realtor, real estate agent, takes somebody to the property on the buy side, or they show the property on the sell side, and they're face to face. Everybody gets physically into the inventory. That's the way this business really works. So it's not lost on you that that sale is taking place inside the property. So you're trying to get in the property with buyers and sellers as often as possible. That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal. No matter what you do to market your services, no matter what medium you use, that is the ultimate goal. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, if you've been in the business for a while, let me start with this no-brainer. You already have people that you have transacted with. You already have people that know, like, and trusted you well enough to consummate a real estate deal. Go to them. Keep them up to date on what's happening in the marketplace. You see, it's like a financial advisor. If I sold you 100 shares of Google, then my job is to stay up to date on how Google's performing and how the general marketplace is performing, right? So see, like 100 shares of Google, this person you sold the house to still owns it. They still own these financial assets. I know we're going to have this big debate about what an asset is or isn't. I'm not saying unless it's an income producing property that it's an asset in the term of this whole rich dad, poor dad argument. Robert Kiyosaki's book there, it's this big argument that the house isn't. Well, yes, it is. It's not. I mean, the liability is the mortgage, but there's an asset there. The equity is an asset. So it's an asset. So act like that. Somebody's value is being affected up and down by the real estate marketplace, right? It is. And it is your job to stay in touch with those people called past clients. You can't believe how many top producers come to me, and it's almost like this little secret. Well, most of my business comes from past clients. Duh, right? I would hope so. I would hope that you did such a great job with those people along the way that they're willing to repeat and refer. So the very first place for all you veterans, even if you have like 5, 10 people, just start this behavior. I wish somebody kicked me in the tail to do this along, but start this behavior of maintaining your positioning as the financial advisor to at least answer the question on a quarterly basis, how's the real estate market within which you sold me this house doing? That's all you have to do, right? So we just do a simple newsletter update that goes out quarterly, and we produce it monthly so that we can then use that for other consumers. But the one that we can get face-to-face with easily is the past client. They're almost like friends at that point in time, right? And I say almost like because I want you to maintain a professional relationship even if you like each other as friends. Be responsible for those people. Because you've been face-to-face, you're staying face-to-face, and that relationship is most likely to bear fruit as they do another deal, or they're so confident that you're a professional, they want other people to use you. They go out of their way to make your brand contagious, but you have to invest constantly in that relationship. It doesn't end once they buy from you. Same thing on the sell side. I see a lot of people say, well, most of my sellers move out of states. What? They all of a sudden don't have any friends that they left behind? That when those friends are thinking about moving away as well, that they're not going to refer you? I don't care where they moved. Keep in touch with them. There's a relationship there. Keep them updated on their old market. You don't know that they don't get somewhere and want to move home. You don't know that their friend isn't trying to make the same move they did. So maintain the position with your past clients as a professional advisor. Then, and only then is it okay to talk about property anniversary gifts and birthday gifts and client events and all the great ideas that I hear as a coach and that I use myself in my own brokerage. But you must stay in touch with these people so that your direct contact with consumer doesn't atrophy. Think about what I'm saying. If you have these past clients and it's so easy to stay in direct contact with them, no middleman, no middle medium, just you and them talking on the phone, visiting them, that is all so good for your business and it maintains this nice foundational place, right? But now working backwards from there, you start thinking, okay, well, what else? I've worked those existing relationships where I had sales. What about all you rookies that don't have any? Well, that's where this concept of sphere of influence can be valuable. I never really was a big fan of it because it sounded so nebulous to me. But now, given the fact that we are really in these social relationships on social platforms, we're always going back and forth. Even if it's someone from high school that you're a little bit embarrassed to pick up the phone and call or go visit, you're still talking to them back and forth. So that next level is you're really direct to your friends and sphere on social, especially Facebook. The way that Facebook lives is extremely personalized, right? Everybody's sharing their personal information. You have the ability to, talk and comment publicly direct to the consumer. And you also have the opportunity to private message. And again, if you're using social properly in the context of personal, meaning you're sharing, you're transparent, then it's okay to slip in a reminder, hey, by the way, I'm a realtor, I'm a real estate agent professional, and here's an update on the market. Now, I would say the frequency of a month, every month would be great. But remember, you're not going to just I still see this mistake on social. People aren't using the platform, even the founders like Zuckerberg and the rest. They want you to live your life transparently and create sense of community. So understand what their game is and play their game. You want to be personal, and then maybe slip in something that's business, but more a contributing business piece. So in other words, how's the market doing? And your update comes in, mixed in. People are interested. Everybody globally is interested in the real estate market. So you slip that in without being gratuitous, just as a reminder that you're there and you're face to face with consumer, right? Then the next big one that we've talked about is not the internet. Again, it is telemarketing. So the ability to use the phone to pick up, and certainly you could do that with your past clients too. So a combination of visiting them and picking up the phone and calling them and mailing them, not emailing them, but mailing them the physical manifestation of your past client newsletter with the stats like a major company would do. You then want to pick up the phone and have those conversations and really just be authentic. Just same thing. Hey, how's it going? How's the house? How's the kids? How's the job? What's happening? And those conversations can be stretched out and personalized. Hey, by the way, I'm always trying to grow my business. So if you know anybody that's thinking about buying or selling like you did with me, let me know. Absolutely. No problem. Right? Because it's authentic. People know the relationship is a business one, but just make sure you're investing in these human relationships with these consumers. That's what this is. And just a reminder here. We're in the relationship business before we're in the real estate business. If somebody doesn't feel like they have a relationship of trust with you, then they're most likely not going to buy or sell with you. They're going to go with somebody else where they have that feeling, whether they admit it or not. They need that love and feeling, okay? And then they'll move on with you. So you're working these existing relationships that exist in real estate first. Then we're working them on social media and platforms. If you own a list from another business and there's relationship there and you want to reintroduce yourself to your sphere, your business sphere as a real estate agent, nothing better than starting with a simple newsletter that gives market updates. By the way, you don't need mine. You don't need to know what I do. Just go into MLS. They give stats all the time about how the market's doing. Grab it and bring it out to these people, right? So that really talks about direct mediums. So that's the third point here. So let me just reiterate. I'm talking about working backwards from the face-to-face that we also covet. Then work those existing relationships first, whether it's past clients if you've already been in the business, and then social, where you can get access to a lot of them at once. And that really speaks to the use of medium. What is the medium upon which you're delivering your message? And so I'm sitting here today recording this fresh off of a 3-hour open house. And people say, well, you're wasting your time, or, oh, that's not a good leverage of time. That's such nonsense. And it's bad advice, and it's dangerous advice, unless, of course, you are already extremely busy because you have built a systematic business and you have so much business coming in that you needed to elevate yourself. Then you can share those open houses with your agents if they'll actually sit still and do one. But I scratched my head to think, my gosh, for 3 hours, I sat there direct to consumer. Wonderful people walking through the door into this beautiful home in the middle of the village where I want to do more business. There they were talking to me, nobody in between. Even if they were working with agents, they were still able to speak with me directly so that I could represent my client and I could tell them the benefits of the house. Direct to consumer at an open house, kinesthetic experience, meaning in the room, touchy-feely, here we are. Hey, nice to meet you. I put my hand out and shake. What's your name? My name's Danny Griffin, right? So this medium of open house is something that's so often overlooked. Even if you don't have listings, but you're at a brokerage, borrow one. I mean, what agent who can't do an open house, whose seller is willing to let you do one, wouldn't be thrilled at the help? And there you are with a retail opportunity. See, internet has changed that so far that, now what are you going to do? Go get a lead and you're going to call 1,500 of them just to get somebody who maybe gives you a breath, right? Maybe starts to talk to you with text via email. But yet I just spent 3 hours and I must have talked to about 12 different couples who live in my avatar, who now are fully aware of me as the owner broker of this brand. So when they see the signs, there's recognition. I can't tell you how many took the card and said, we'll be in touch because we're getting ready to do something. Direct to consumer. And then the next step, yesterday we sat with our team internally, or my team internally, Autumn, who's doing our telemarketing. And Laura, who's on the phone most of the time as well, she combines it with the face-to-face and the follow-up with our best prospects and our clients, and Autumn's doing the leads, quote unquote. But they're contacts. So we don't run to these nebulous leads on the internet anymore. I'm not saying that that's not part of it, but if I can have a telemarketing conversation with somebody who's expired, I know that person has contacts to sell inside the area I want. You better believe we're going to go direct to that consumer immediately. Every day we can pick up the phone and sure, do we get hung up on? Yes. Do we get sworn at? Yes. But that's just par for the course in an emotional transaction like real estate. We don't take it personally. We just move through it because we know in that triage moment of expireds, for example, somebody's struggling and they're going to say, yes, it's okay to send me some of your documentation, some of your help, direct to consumer. Here I was pounding across this whole pile of internet leads, and instead I went on 3 different presentations this week. I'm not saying we'll get the listings tomorrow morning, but I'm saying we went direct to consumer. More and more and more, we're accumulating more direct-to-consumer conversations that move the agenda forward much quicker, okay? So open houses, telemarketing. If you're a door knocker, if you're a door hanger, and you're doing open houses and you want to go around and tell people, hey, I'm having an open house, or you want to telemarket around it, all this stuff can come together around the real business, which is selling properties. So the more you can use a piece of property as an opportunity to go direct to the consumer with conversation, from just listed conversations, just sold conversations, open house conversations, you get my point, right? I hope you do. Direct to consumer is where we start, right? And that was the final point there. I mentioned it earlier, I'll mention it again. Relationships grow faster when you're face-to-face. So if we're working backwards, the more face-to-face opportunities we can exhaust, we're going to grow those relationships faster. Because today I got into very personal conversations about kids and family and job change and retirement. That's very personal. And so as somebody sees you're a real human being and they look into your eyes and you really care about it and you're interested in it and you show your enthusiasm for the business you're in, those are the professionals people are looking for when it's time for them to do something. Okay. Now, once that's all exhausted, of course, now we can go back to the internet and we can refine it and say, let me scratch my head here for a second and figure, since so many people are using the internet as a resource to figure out what their property is worth, or how to find a house, could I do something different that approximates what I just did face to face? See what I'm saying? So if you really think about what the best assets or best aspects of what happens when you're face to face with a buyer or seller, could you then bring that to the internet and possibly even give it away? In other words, if you give a buyer presentation or a seller presentation, could you record it? Could you record tips from it? Could you then bring that to the internet and say, hey, look, I don't know if you know, when you're looking online, here are some of the things that you might not be getting that I could provide. Do you even think like that? I'm not giving you any specific advice on what to do. I'm trying to stimulate the way you look at things. Too many of you are blindly, especially all you top producers, are blindly going out there and buying leads on the internet. Facebook, Google, I get it. I do both. I try to crack the code on both. But I'm beginning to realize more and more and more that the benefit of social media is so that I can communicate my kinesthetic voice, meaning kinesthetic really means like touchy-feely. You're in the house. It's 3-dimensional. Once you go to video, it's 2-dimensional, right? So you're sort of there, and it's very effective. If you're watching the recording of this podcast, you get it. You're as close to being in here with me as a room as you can get on the internet. I think that's a more highly effective use than just blindly running ads, hoping that blindly somebody shows up, and then you have to filter through all this whimsical internet inquiry just to find maybe a half of a conversation. Get my point? This is all about just us thinking about change that the internet has brought. Okay, so let's summarize this again. I want you to think about going direct to the consumer because that's where the magic happens and it always has. The way that you do that is to consider point number 1. The internet is moving you away from the consumer. Don't let it do that. How to not let it do that is work backwards from face to face. How'd you get face to face with those people? That gives you a clue as to how you want to replicate activities that got you there. Of course, work your existing relationships first by being that consummate professional and staying face to face with your past clients. If you don't have them, everybody can go to social media where your friends and family are all gathered on a regular basis, where you play personal, and slip in some helpful information, not gratuitous. Hey, I want buyers. Hey, nope. Here's how the market's doing. Start there on social. Use direct mediums, open houses, telemarketing. Please put those near the top of the list, if not right at the top. Door knockers, God bless you. Knock yourself silly. I love it. If you can go there around a just listed, a just sold, or an open house notification so that you're relevant at the door, wonderful. And then lastly, remember, all these relationships grow faster the more you can get face to face. One little quick tip, all of you trying to make like the perfect time to go out and list a property, go out and help somebody. You're not that busy. Come on. You can go down and you can coach somebody. I know it's 6 months out, but let me come down and coach you about what you should be doing over that next 6 months. The minute you go do that, people are ingratiated by that gift of your time. Okay. Remember that. So to summarize this, the internet is a fabulous tool that allows the consumer to do research about properties like never before. However, it has pushed them further away from real estate agents. So stop that. Stop that push and go reconnect with them. Get face to face. Get direct with the consumer. All right, remember, you can take immediate action and get started in a better direction with our free simple business plan over at freeagentgift.com. Its intent is to get you thinking like a manager of your business. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss out on any insights each time we upload an episode, and I do it regularly each week. We also broadcast our live sales training calls on Facebook and YouTube every Friday at 1 o'clock EDT. You want to hear what it really sounds like when we're giving the language of telemarketing? We give it away every week. Sit still. Listen. We actually do this, and we do it pretty well, and we give it to you. So remember, turn on those page and channel notifications so you don't miss the reminders. We'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with other entrepreneurial real estate agents just like you so that they get the help that they need. Share it forward, please. Hey, thanks for listening. And remember, nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on your own business. See you in the next episode.